Hello, this is Jay Mitchell, and we're back for another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast. Let's get into it. First, we have just launched my website for my 2032 U.S. presidential campaign, and now I posted that, and I launched it on Wix. Yeah, so I said, I modeled it off the one I made for my state office representatives campaign from last year. So hopefully that goes well, and we'll see how. Hopefully, and I may manage to do good. I don't know how far I'll get because I don't have the most resources, but I'll try my best, and I think I'll be able to see my expectations. Then we have Under the Table from Stone Toss, and that's a comic of they're arresting Donald Trump, and they says no one's above the law. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's getting bribes from Ukraine in the background, and I said agree with Stone Toss somewhat here. They're all guilty, but the only seem to care that Trump is. It's why the indictment's probably benefiting him at this point. His supporters use this means to justify how persecuted he is, while his detractors will use it as a means to justify how guilty he is. It really is something both sides are benefiting from. Not like Trump supporters, I could care less if he spends the rest of his life in prison. My problem is more so that they aren't prosecuting the other elites to the same extent. Then we have Argentine peso plunges after rightist who admires Trump comes first in primary vote. Basic math demonstrates its economic agenda will destroy the society from apnews.com by Chi-Town20. And, yeah, I personally hope, they they get rid of the central bank so they don't have to worry anymore about what the other countries say, because I think if they get rid of their central bank, hopefully will set a good example for the rest of the world, and the rest of the world will start doing it. But we'll see. We'll just have to see what happens. Next, we have Elon Musk's X is throttling traffic to news and websites he dislikes. The site formerly known as Twitter has added a 5-second delay when a user clicks on a shortened link to the New York Times. Facebook and other sites might commonly attacks. A Washington Post analysis found from WashingtonPost.com by Donald Key. And I said I didn't say anything on this one, but I think, it's Elon's website to be able to do it, but I do think that's kind of scummy. I would have to agree. But, the thing is, New York Times is definitely a biased source, so, I definitely do think, if there's a website that probably deserves, it's probably an MSM source like the New York Times or any of the MSM sources. I think that would be a good way to decentralize the media to an extent. Maybe make the longer for the bigger the media company is, make the wait times longer. I think that could be good to decentralize the media. You don't say from Glenn Greenwald on Twitter, and that was he said he linked to a story, Reuters.com, CIA, FBI computers used for Wikipedia edits. And I said, control the narrative, control the people. And before someone says Star Wars 2007, the alphabet agencies do not seem to have meaningfully changed at all since then. So, they're still probably controlling Wikipedia and all the narrative, all the social media websites. Then we have the rule of law is a propaganda term, just like trust the science, but conservatives haven't realized that yet. Michael Malice on Twitter, I posted that. And I said, agreed. Law, much like science and pretty much every word, can simply be whatever those in positions of power define it to be. The state can be determined whatever it wants to be law and can throw you in prison for whatever reason it wants to. And just because something is marketed as law doesn't not make it right. What happened to Anne Frank was totally legal under Nazi Germany's laws of the time. Then we have, in 2016, Bernie Sanders warned Democrats not to replace class consciousness with identity politics. They didn't listen. Anthony Oliver's Richmond, North of Richmond, about working class struggles is now the #1 song in the world. Elites, it's right wing, from Jack Hunter on Twitter. And I said, agreed. As someone who used to be a Bernie supporter, id poll was one of the biggest things that pushed me away from the left. We're about to see major conflict between the elites who want Trump as a GOP nominee and those who want him in prison. For Michael Mouse on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, the Dems would be stupid to not let Trump be the GOP nominee. He's the easiest one to fearmonger about and draw turnout for them. So I think they'd be stupid not do that, but we'll see what happens. Prosecutors in the Hunter Biden case denied defense push to keep gun charge agreement in place, from APnews.com, from Ninja Lover. And, I personally think, Hunter Biden will find a way to weasel out of it, just like Donald Trump will find a way to weasel out all these indictments. Because, the elites, they'll never be held accountable. I think it's all theater, and we'll just continue with this forever because the law, it's a two-tier justice system. It's a tier for the elites and the tier for everyone else. And, the elites will always find a way to escape. I think it's all just theater, They say, oh, we're going to hold the elites accountable, but they never will hold the elites accountable because that's not what the plan is. Then we have, if Biden wins, we all lose, from Spike from 2020. That's from Spike. And I posted that, and I said, a quote from the article, this has become a common cry in the vast pro-Biden lobby. It's a central component of the make politics boring again worldview. They want a world where most people, ordinary people, don't have to worry themselves about issues of governance. They can just leave the stuff, the business, and that of national destiny, the common classes. Common alongside boring is another buzzword of the Biden lobby. I said, this is probably going to be the problem with politics. Politicians don't want you to think for yourself and question everything. They just want you to obey above all else. I remember when the Dems were all about resisting authority during Trump's administration, but now that Biden is office, it's now become obey without question. People need to learn to always question authority, regardless of how much they agree with it. Then we have, will you still be safe if the entire police department's resigning, from YouTube.com, by James Freeman on YouTube, I think, and it's by Muad Dib. And I said, I think it's funny how the left hates cops, but a lot of them voted for one as VP. Michael Mouse made a good tweet about how the 2024 election would be Cop Harris versus Convict Trump. Most people would vote against their positions when it comes to the police. So they don't like the police, but they don't really like vigilante justice either. That's the thing. I think the people need to support. I personally don't really care for the cops. I think we just need vigilante neighborhood watch groups instead, and that's something that I would care more for. Would think would be more libertarian approach to law enforcement. Self-proclaimed free speech absolute, Elon Musk's ex-man's tactics of authoritarian dictatorships and brawling traffic to websites he dislikes, from Washington Post by Chi-Town. We already talked about that one from Donald Key's post, so we'll skip that one. Go to the next one. What level of projection is this not drag queen? From number 1 by Chi-Town 20, and that's from Crossroads from the Wall Street subreddit, and it's a tweet from Bex at Antifa Operative. Arizona Corrections Officer Cody Reed has been arrested for raping child in Georgia, and he tweeted a picture of bullets of cure for pedophilia written on them. Or something like, I think that was a tweet, yeah. They're bad faith actors on both sides. This is kind of more an agenda plus anything else, but I just say, so I guess some places the left can do projection too. There was this one guy in Hawaii that did it, and I think that's important to remember as well. Aiden Boone, so it's all projection. Is Javier Milei, a libertarian from where my circles work, and that's linked for a Cato story of the same name. And I would consider him relatively libertarian, I hope he wins, but, Argentina seems desperate right now, so I think he has a good chance, unlike the U.S., which doesn't seem nearly as desperate. But we'll see if he wins, and hopefully he wins and turns Argentina into Encapitina, so we'll see how that goes. Kansas prosecutor finds sufficient evidence to support police raid on newspaper and asks that these items can be returned from ABCNews.gov from Ninja Lover. And yeah, I guess that's, I agree that is, that's the thing. The police can just raid anything they want and get away with it. They'll say they won't get away with it, but they'll always get away with it, and they'll do another raid sometime soon, and that will be bad as well, and then they'll still get away with it. So they'll think they won't get away with it, but they'll find a way. They'll always find a way to get away with it. Or Libertarian mods claim we don't exist. A crosspost from Dr. Gonzo, a crosspost from the Libertarian Left subreddit. And that's when someone was banned. They said, "Oh, there's no such the Libertarian mods in the ban note, so there's such thing as left libertarianism." So I said, I think you should be able to market yourself as whatever kind of libertarian you want, but don't be surprised people don't take people who label themselves living as libertarian communists or libertarian fascists seriously. So that's my thoughts, Then we have thank you AOCs for standing up for free market capitalism. Brought everyone by Dr. Gonzo. That's from Jared Pauls, who tweeted the same thing. Thank you for signing up for free market capitalism and small business against bureaucratic state attack and government seizure of assets. So I guess that's good, I think Pauls is more as, AOC, I guess this last week the street vendors in Corona Plaza assist police on the district of culture museum, worse than serve no one, going to the vendors offer shut down the spread fear in the immigrant community. That's good, but yeah. I like what BHKMB here says. Okay, so we don't have to obey the law when it doesn't serve the people she once served. Yeah, AOC, she's like, oh, we gotta ban gas stoves for new installations of gas stoves for other reasons because no one in my group I support does those aren't in the position of people I support. But this is just something, it's AOC's only supporting this not because it's for libertarians, it's because it's just a group she supports. So that's what's really important to note here. The government cheats, loses, and cheats again, making immigrating illegal. I think that's another Cato article by Rumor. I agree. No, the immigration system is definitely something I really disagree with the government on, and I think we need to make immigration as easy as possible. YouTube isn't a social media platform; it's a propaganda platform from Michael Schellenberger on Twitter, and I said. When I replied, there's no such thing as a non-propaganda social media at this point, if you ask me. That's the thing. So, yeah, YouTube is definitely propaganda. I think Reddit is probably the worst when it comes to propaganda, but I think they're all pretty bad, so that's my thoughts there. As 2024 election season approaches, NBC News, MSNBC, and CNN go on a hiring spree, putting former Biden White House communications officers in their newsroom, turning themselves into even more blatant pro-Dem state TV outlets than they were before. Glenn Greenwald on Twitter, I posted that, and I said, the government, media, and big business are all in bed with each other anyway. Glad they aren't trying to hide anymore. What we need is decentralization. Small businesses, small government, small media. And that is something that I think we should really be pushing for. This is what evil looks like from Arizona Mize Caucus. And that's a picture of Cafe for Democracy, who tweeted, private schools, especially regular schools, should be outlawed. And I replied, awfuls can be the worst. Affluent white female liberals, they can be the worst when it comes to stuff like that. And they can say, the affluent liberals are the worst, if you ask me. The poor, the working class and less liberals are, they vote Dem for economic reasons can be annoying too, but at least they're not pushing for all this id-poll stuff, and that's really what stuff that's really getting on my nerves, soon. And they're forcing, the awfuls like this woman, she wants to enforce all her progressive cultural standards on people, and that's just like kind of like how the GOP wants to enforce all these traditional cultural standards on people, and that's not something I really care for. According to Wikipedia, inflation is now a right-wing talking point from John Middlemore on Twitter. I posted that, and I said, Wikipedia giving Reddit a run for its money here. He also listed child trafficking, high taxes, and welfare abuse as right-wing talking point, and make it sound like only right-wing people care about it. So that's something that's important to note as well. It's just everything anything I need to send at all is going to be labeled a right-wing talking point these days, pretty much. And I think we're going to wrap it up there, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.